Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Network 216 proudly presents the Rust Belt Rivalry podcast. We've got Jason on the one side. We don't have a nickname or a last name for him or anything right now. And we've got Brian Phillips, the red shirt fresh fan baby. Jason, how are we doing today?
Doing well, Brian. I will find a name. I will find a last name. We'll figure this all out. We're on the fly. This is episode 1 of me, so we're gonna figure that all out as we go.
I was going to say, I had it all teed up in my head. I was like, the road dog, Jesse James, the badass Billy Gunn. I'm like, all right, Jason, and then nothing. I'm like, I can't go with that. We got to get something in there.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, Jason, or something like. We'll figure something out.
Yeah. We'll get there. Detroit down, Dallas, Jason, something. You need to change your name to something that starts with a D. Detroit, Dallas,
Derek.
Yeah, there you go. That's much
Triple
better.
D.
Yeah, Triple D. We got Fatty already hopping in the comments here with a Brian fail. I'm assuming that's because we didn't start at 9 o'clock on the dot. For those of you who have been following the Rust Belt Rivalry podcast, Nick is no longer with us. Jason is now stepping in full time. He's the man. He's going to talk. So we're going to talk Browns, Bengals. He's also a Cowboys fan. And then he also follows the Lions, if you can't tell by his sweatshirt, as well. So
Yes.
anything you want to say? Did I mess anything up? Are you a fan of the Lions as well?
So I actually, ironically, I've had season tickets for 20 years. My dad has to the Lions. So I've had to sit and endure that for 20 years. So I've got a lot of pent up anger and rage at them that I'm ready to talk about, either good or bad. And, I'm actually, I love them and I hate them at the same time. It's kind of a weird relationship, but Cowboys first, Lions, I have to put up with it. So.
Okay. Well, That's how the entire Cleveland Browns fan base feels.
Yeah, it's real life.
Every year.
Yeah.
Our whole lives. So, we'll kick it off first here. We'll just talk again. We're going to be talking about anything football. So feel free to comment in the comments. Obviously the NFL draft was just recently. So that's what we're going to cover today. During the season, we'll be talking about, the games that are coming up, the games that have passed, everything that's going on in the NFL, all the Mike Vrabel or Rossini drama, or things that Mary Kay Cabot stirs up for the Browns. Already talking about who's going to be QB1 on April 29th, stuff like that.
I'd love to talk draft, but we have to start with Mary Kay Cabot, man. That is ridiculous, right? There's only 2 things this can be. There's literally only 2 things. The Browns are asking her to do this to try to drum up any trade interest for him, or drum up some sort of value for him.
Yep.
And then, or number 2, like I don't know what number 2 is, because it is ridiculous. It cannot be true.
No, there's no possibility. So here on April 29th of the new year, this offseason they haven't even like done anything, right?
4 like practices in shorts.
Yep. She has already said to not count out Dylan Gabriel, that she thinks he has a shot to be the starter.
Cut.
And that and that Deshaun Watson is the number 1. I'm like, and everybody in Browns Twitter, I'm guessing you don't see Browns Twitter being
God, no.
Everybody's freaking out. I'm like, guys, calm down. This guy's not falling. We're all right here.
If they do that, I mean, there's no way. Like Jeff Monken. Wait, is it Todd or Jeff? One of the Monkins.
Come on, it's Todd Monken. Come on, get the man's name right.
There's 2 Monkins. Jeff Monken's the head coach at Army. So give me a break here.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to teach you a thing or 2 here along the way, Brian.
Thank you.
But there's no way. He's a respectable human, respectable coach. There's no way that Watson is going to be his starting quarterback. They've got to be just trying to get some interest to get that salary off their roster. That's all they can do. And you know what? Mary Kay doing this is almost as egregious as what Rossini is doing, I think. I don't know.
Whoa! I wish I had a sounder. I need a sounder. Let's see here. Here we go. No, I can't. I'm not going to hit the laugh button, but I've got a couple buttons here we'll play around with during the regular season. By the way, they also call me BLK. That stands for the Bud Light King. The one guy hates Bud Light, and he always talks smack about it. Fatty also says that Thanksgiving must suck for you.
I've actually, so it's funny. I refuse to go to any Thanksgiving Day games. So
Really?
because it's so bad. Like, why would I skip like good food for that?
I mean, to go to the Cowboys game, I would.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if you know this guy or not. Neil Wagner jumps in and says, "Who had the better draft, the Browns or the Cowboys?"
oh, Neil.
Don't worry, Neil. We'll get into that in a little
Yeah.
bit. You got to stay tuned for longer than the first 5 minutes to find that out. Uh, well, actually, no, you don't. So, Jason, we'll just do some quick hitters before
All right.
we dive in deep here. Who do you think won the draft out of the four teams between the Browns, Bengals, Cowboys, and Lions?
For immediate impact, I think Dallas won the draft.
Okay.
Because I think their first three picks are going to see the field extensively. And I shouldn't say extensively. I think Downs is a day one starter. I think their second and then third or second first round pick and their third round pick are both going to play significant roles starting this year. I think the Browns probably long term may have won the draft. I think that you have the highest upside with the left tackle. I think getting left tackle in the top 10, there's always a ton of promise and upside there. And then I really like Denzel Boston. I like the Denzel Boston pick a lot. I like Emmanuel McNeil Warren a lot. I think just their draft is very deep. So I would say, if I had to pick who won the draft today for this coming season, it's Dallas. Long term, probably the Browns. I think the Lions did a bad job. I think that they're one of the worst teams. I think they had one of the worst drafts across the NFL, if I'm going to be honest. And the Bengals, I really liked what the Bengals did too. So I know as a Browns fan, you probably hate hearing that, but I think looking at the Bengals last like couple first round picks, like they've kind of whiffed on them. So it's like if I can trade my first round pick and not whiff on it and trade it for a guy who's a Pro Bowler, I think it's a win.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
400 pounds. So let's pump the brakes, I guess. But
I mean, when you're trading out, I mean, they basically gave up Caleb Downs
or Reuben Payne.
Or Reuben Bain for Dexter Lawrence, which I mean, Dexter Lawrence is what, 28? I want to say.
They'll have him for 3 years.
Yeah, he's not that old, but like he's also not been that productive. So what did you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of what the Bengals did. But we'll dive into that. I think the Bengals are still going to be hovering around that 6-7 wins, just like the Browns are next year. Not to spoil it too much, but as far as who I think won, I think I didn't think about it long term and short term, but I do kind of agree with you. And I think overall the Browns won. I mean, hell, they got, in my opinion, 4 first round draft picks in this single draft. Like I think McNeil Warren, I cannot believe that I thought he was going to be a steal at 39. So for us to get him at 58, and same thing with Boston. I thought I wanted Boston at 24. I was live at Flyers, like just drooling over myself, sad because we picked Casey Conception. But now we've got both, and I'm totally okay with that. But I think this is the first time since 2018 that a team has gotten 4 like overall consensus first round picks in the draft, and I'm absolutely excited about it because all it is a bunch of swings and hopefully you hit a couple home runs.
So how do they mess it up?
How did the Browns mess it up?
How will they mess it up? Let's get your crystal ball out here. How are they going to mess this up?
We'll get into that. I mean, I don't think they will. I think they're going to continue to build, like how they should. You know what I mean? They got a couple extra picks for next year, which next year is like a gold mine, supposedly like a treasure chest of picks. Yeah. So I'm all for it. By the way, I don't know if you watch basketball at all, but Dean Wade has 7 points, and I think he's terrible in the playoffs. So he must be having a great game. I saw him take a couple shots.
Is that Dwayne Wade's brother? I don't know.
No, they call him the White Wolf. He is not Dean. He's not Dwayne Wade's brother. Also talking about McNeil Warren, we got Go Rockets, baby. Heck yeah. Me and Jason are both alumni of the Toledo Rockets, the great MAC team. Let me think here. What was the biggest surprise pick for you?
So do you want to talk about all 4 teams, just our 2 teams?
Just give me one of the surprise picks. Out of all the picks of our 4 teams, what was the biggest surprise to you?
So I think the biggest move, the biggest surprise move may have been the Dexter Lawrence trade, but I'll put that on the side. I think the
Mm.
actual pick is going to be Caleb Downs getting to Dallas at 11. I think to me, it wasn't necessarily the player was a surprise. I think it was the surprise that he got there, knowing the way he fits with pretty much any defense. And a lot of the teams at the top 10, 15 we're looking him to improve defensively. And it was a shock to me that he got there. I was sitting on my couch just like on pins and needles waiting for this to happen. And it was, as a Buckeye and a Cowboy, it's rare for me to have that happen. So it was a surprise. I think the other possible surprise would be, the Browns drafting Fano. I think I don't know. I didn't listen to a lot of Browns pre-draft stuff, but it seemed like the consensus number one tackle was Moiwaga, or you're gonna correct me on that one 100 times. Francis, big France. But I know he was primarily a right tackle. So obviously, was that, I guess from a Browns fan, was that pick, do you think, specifically because Fano played on the left side?
Oh, absolutely.
So do you think Moiwaga is the better tackle? Do you think that they believe that?
I hope they don't believe that. Everybody I talk to that knows offensive linemen way better than me all said that Moiwaga was better.
Yeah.
But, again, just like Caleb Downs, like, what position does he play? Safety. Like, how high of a value does a good safety place on a team?
Yeah.
It's not that important. And I'm not saying it's not that important, but it's just not that high of a value of pick. Same thing with a right tackle, right? It's not that high of a value for these teams. So that's why these players, it's the same thing has happened with running backs, like aside from this year, but typically running backs drop, right? Like, and that's fine. So I think that plays a lot more into it. Like, everybody always says, "Oh yeah, pick best player available." Like, I know, I know you do, but like most teams don't do that. The Browns, they should, but they all have needs. Like and again,
I got needs, baby.
I will repeat it until I die. Like, you cannot pick best player available every time. That you cannot build a team that way.
You can.
No, you can't.
I think you can.
Okay.
Okay. So aside from you want to make the argument like, oh, the best players happens to be a quarterback at every pick, which isn't true.
Yeah.
Or center or the same position.
Yeah.
Okay. We can agree to disagree on that.
You can't always draft for depth. But
in the first round, when you have a top 10 pick, you have to draft the best player available. Like, you can't draft the 15th or the third best offensive tackle when the first best something exists on the board.
Nope. So he better be a damn good tackle.
Yeah. So what was your surprise pick? What was of all the picks?
I just looked at the four teams that we're covering. My surprise was Blake Miller, Strongsville tackle going. What was it? Sorry, 17.
Yeah.
I had him. I was like, kind of going to be excited if the Browns got a wide receiver at 6, and then I was thinking that it might even be a reach for them to grab him at 24. But then he goes 17, and I'm like, ooh. But
I told you guys in the pre-draft show, just wait for the Lions. They're going to take someone that you don't expect, that no one's talking about in that position, because Campbell fell in love with someone. And that's like it's his shtick. And everyone's like, oh, they're geniuses. It's like, are they? Well, we're going to find out. I have a whole Lions spiel that I'm ready to go over when we get to them, because it's been 20 years in the making, and this whole recent Lions resurgence, or not resurgence, but just come up in general. Like, man, these fans feel like they have this right to winning, and it's like, you don't. Like, you do not have this right to winning, and the Lions haven't earned this. So we'll get to that, though.
Jeez, though, Pete, you want to call the Lions fans out? Show number 1. I mean, yeah. Geez, well,
has some more Lions stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you lose Ben Johnson, you kind of lost the best part of the team.
Yeah.
We'll take a deep dive though into each team. So let's start with the Browns. we're obviously I'm Cleveland local. This is primarily a Browns network here, a network 216. So we'll start with that. We've already talked about Fano, elite left tackle, played at a high level before he was asked to move to right tackle for the Utah Utes because Lomu could not make the shift himself, even though Fano, I don't know what the heck it is, even
You
though
have
he
two of
was
them, though, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Even though he was better, I mean, he had a couple unanimous All-Americans, obviously fills a major hole immediately and has a Pro Bowl level ceiling, right? A multiple year Pro Bowler. Could be our next Joe Thomas, right? So super excited about that. Again, Concepcion, I was not excited about draft night, the Thursday night. Obviously, he's very versatile, right? He's very dynamic. He can play inside, he can play outside. The slot, he's even a returner. He's got explosive return capabilities, which we have not seen since frickin' Josh Cribbs. So it's been 15 years.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things that he does after I didn't have 6 cups before they made that pick and I had a chance to think about it. I was like, man, what did the Browns really miss last year? And I was like, I talked about it several times. Is like creating separation and having speed. Our wide receiver room was ranked 31st and 32nd in those two categories, and that's something that Concepcion has in loads, right? He's fast and he creates separation very well. And he does occasionally drop the ball, right? He has those concentration drops, they keep calling it. But another statistic to kind of counter that is he has one of the highest percentages of targets that are not in his like range or whatever you want to call it. So he's also not had great quarterback play, which unfortunately for him, the Browns specialize in. So it might continue for at least one more year.
He's used to it. He's ready for it.
Yeah, see, he's seasoned. He's ready. But then when the third player I'll talk about is Denzel Boston, obviously. When they got him at 39, I was like, oh, we're cool. Like everything's fine. They're two very different players, right? Boston is obviously a big-bodied wide receiver. I thought he should have been who they picked at 24, but again, I'm not going to split hairs now. I'm super excited about it. He does not have elite speed, but again, he can create separation. And I'm super excited for the Browns to finally prioritize wide receivers because they have not for, I don't know, a long time. Last really good wide receiver we had was, I mean, I guess you could say Amari Cooper, but we only had him for a couple years.
Yeah.
Before that was Josh Gordon for like 1 year. And then because he was smoking pot, it was like, oh, nope, on the list again. So anything I missed, anything about those top 3 picks that
No, you make a really good point though about Casey Concepcion because I looked at it first that night. I'm like, I think they reached for him over Cooper and over Boston, but I think he's actually like a Shador friendly receiver because if you looked at how Shador played at Colorado, there was a lot of short stuff. They had Travis Hunter, they had Jimmy Horn Jr. So I think there's a lot of underneath, screens, tunnel screens. Things like that. And I think he gives you that option and the opportunity to do things like that with his speed. So I think, the more I looked at that too, I had that question that night too. And I think I texted you and we exchanged some texts. And I think looking at it now, I think that's a Shador friendly receiver, which is what they went with. And if you have a shaky offensive line, you need a guy that can get open quickly underneath like that. So I really do think that that's a great pick. And I do think that the Denzel Boston coming back. So, look at it this year. You have going into the year, you have Fannin, Boston, Concepcion, and then is Judy still on the roster? Is he?
Yep.
I mean, that's an actual receiving core. And so you're giving Shador every opportunity. And if Shador is not the guy, I mean, he's got an offensive line in front of him. All you got to do is you got to find a veteran quarterback next year. And that's not as difficult as it sounds. So I think the building blocks are really there. I think they did a great job this year.
Absolutely. And then the next thing is like, did they fill needs or chase value? I think they filled needs, but with trading down from 6 to 9, I think, they were really smart, right? Like I think they were picking Fano. All the tea leaves, all the close reporters say they were going to pick Fano at 6 anyway. So the fact that they, even though they didn't get much to trade down a couple spots, like and then I guess Andrew Berry pulled like hey, if you don't tell me if you're drafting at least offense or defense, like I'm not making the trade. And the Chiefs told him like, no, we're going defense, and that was what sealed the trade, I guess, for it. I mean, again, this is all speculation. I wasn't in the war room, unfortunately, but
they didn't invite you this year.
What's that?
They didn't invite you this year to the war room?
No, not this year. They wanted me away. You know, I'm too big of a Shador fan, so they didn't want my influence. You know.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this, Brian. So, do you think two questions? One, do you think the draft changed for the Browns and their plans changed the minute that Carnell Tate was drafted? And then the second question is, let's play hypothetical that the Titans take any other human being on earth other than Carnell Tate, and he's there at 6. What do you think happens?
So I honestly, I think, again, from what I'm reading from all the reporters that are close to the team, Andrew Berry knew there was going to be a run on tackles in the middle of this first round. And he knew, again, that he was more comfortable with the depth at wide receiver than he was with the depth at tackle. And so he really wanted to shore up that left tackle for the future, which is why he wasn't willing to trade out of the top 10. And which is why, they went. I think even if Tate was there at 6, I think that would have started off the draft really nasty, because I think they would have traded out of it, and me and a lot of other people would have been mad.
Yeah, Cleveland be on fire.
Yeah. I think it actually worked out well for Mr. Andrew Berry, because like I honestly I do, because I think they would have passed on him anyway, and then I think Washington would have got him at the next pick. And then everybody would have been mad, like, oh, we got Fano, but we could have had Tate. So yeah, I think it worked out just fine. And the more I thought on it, like, yeah, dude, like, again, I think that Boston could be just as good as Tate. You know what I mean? I could be wrong, obviously, but like, how many wide receivers have not been the first wide receiver off the board and still been the best receiver in the class? I mean, look at Justin Jefferson. Like, you know what I mean? They're always drafted in the late teens, early 20s, and it seems like they end up being the best receiver in the class. So,
I mean, Mike Thomas was a second rounder. You have a ton of those examples that aren't the first receivers taken.
Yeah, Puka Nacua, 4th round. Like, there's a million. So I think that was their plan all along. Now Andrew Berry is like, they say it's silly season right before the draft. Like, I think he is always pumping out. Like, we talked about Mary Kay. I think they use her as like a mouthpiece for the organization, right? It's like, hey, yeah, well, let's leak this to Mary Kay and then let her run with it, right? And it's like, oh yeah, Deshaun Watson is going to start. So I think he's a master at that. I mean, he did the same thing last year with Travis Hunter. He's like, oh, Travis Hunter is a unicorn. Like, we've never seen anything like this before. And Browns fans are like, oh God, we're going to get Travis Hunter. We can't wait. Then he's like, trade. So, I just think he's just a master, kind of manipulator, so to speak. And as far as like honestly, I was very satisfied last year. I had a very sour taste in my mouth when they drafted Dylan Gabriel in the top 100. I didn't see any reach picks, anything that they did, even with picking a quarterback in that 6th round, which some people like threw a fit about. Some people are mad. No. Browns fans are not happy, right? They're like, oh, another quarterback, what a wasted pick. It's like, calm down. Like, the percentage of people in the 6th round that make it to a second contract, I think, is like less than 5%. Yeah. So, number one, you're taking a swing. And I say, if you don't have a quarterback on the roster, like, you better be grabbing a lottery ticket every year. You know
100% I agree. And so the Cowboys guys I listened to, and a couple of them are ex-scouts, they loved Taylor Green. And they actually thought that, and I watched they have like a podcast that they do during the draft, and they thought that the Dallas 3rd round pick was actually going to be Green. So I think he's a great pick. I wonder where he fits in that massively crowded room. Obviously, I think today was the first option and opportunity to start trading Deshaun Watson or getting rid of him. I don't think Dylan Gabriel makes the roster. I'll be honest with you. I don't think he does.
I hope not. I don't care if they get a bag of potato chips for him. I don't want to see him again. So, uh, I don't, adios. Like I was hoping Kevin Stefanski would take his boy with him down and have all the lefty quarterbacks.
Oh, he's gonna have them all.
I mean, well, he will have him, but we're gonna probably have to cut him, and then he's gonna pick him up. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care. Like you can have him. I mean, the other thing that the big question is like, and you kind of already alluded to this, but the final thing about the Browns is like, is this roster ready to contend now? That's the big question, right? That everybody asks around after the draft. I don't think so. I'm still hovering in like, I think the Browns win like 8 games. I think they're going to hover somewhere between that like 7 to 9, maybe 10 if they're lucky. They might be in playoff contention, like a wild card spot, but I don't see them. Even if Shador plays well, like makes a significant improvement, like he still has a long way to go. So, and if he doesn't play well, then it's going to be a lot worse, right?
So let me ask you this. I want to answer that question too. But when is Quinshawn coming back?
Quinshawn will be back before training camp. He'll be good to go, supposedly.
So I'm going to make a bold prediction. You ready for a bold prediction here, Brian Phillips?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the AFC North, I think, is going to be pretty wide open because the Steelers haven't figured out the quarterback stuff and they have a very aging defense. I have no faith in the Steelers. The Bengals are one toenail injury away to Joe Burrow again from being terrible. And the same thing, Lamar Jackson, you cannot be that play style quarterback that he has this long into his career and expect to continue that high level of play. I think the Browns are in a better position than everyone in the division. And I am shocked I'm saying that, if I'm being honest with you. And so like, if Shador, because I mean, how many times have we watched the Steelers or these teams that have the Titans with Tannehill, where they just had a quarterback that was good enough and didn't turn the ball over and turn it to an elite defense. You have an elite defense. Now you have a running game with Quinshawn. You have an offensive line that can support that, and you have a quarterback that if he doesn't mess around and turn the ball over, you have the recipe to win the division. So like, bold prediction here on April 29th, like as a non-Browns fan, I think you guys are in a good spot.
Whoa, love to hear that.
It might only take 8 wins. It really might only take 8 or 9 wins, but
yeah, I don't know about that. I think it's taken like 10 or 11 at least for the last, But then again, I mean, another big wild card that nobody as a Browns fan is thinking about is like Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh have been head coaches in this league for what? 15, 20, 25 years, whatever. Yeah. Like they're gone, dude. So they're on, now they're on, Pittsburgh is on quarterback circulatory like we've been, and they're on to new head coaches that might not be very good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's all, like you said, I think it's all pointing up for the Browns, but I'm just not trying to be like guy that's like, oh yeah, we're going to the playoffs for sure. Might get roasted at the stake for that. So enough about the Browns, though. Let's dive into the Cowboys. So tell me about the Dallas Cowboys draft. I mean, what did you see? What did you already kind of touched on a little bit, but what did you like? What did you not like? I'm actually going to put it up on the screen for everybody to see.
Yeah. So obviously, I think the Downs pick is, there could not have been a more perfect match between a player and a team than Caleb Downs and the Dallas Cowboys. Everyone's talking about Christian Parker, the new defensive coordinator, as some wonderkind, 34-year-old guy from the Eagles. I don't necessarily care too much about, his background so much as that, like, he has an idea of how to run an elite defense, and he has seen it done like Philadelphia has done. And so I'm excited about that fit and how Caleb fits into the defense. Now, everyone talks about positional value of being a safety in the NFL and how it doesn't carry that much positional value. I feel that he's going to play very few snaps as a deep safety. I think he's going to play closer to the line of scrimmage in a nickelback kind of outside linebacker almost type role, corner, inside corner, nickelback, whatever, box safety, whatever you want to call it. And I think what's great is he brings a couple things to you. Obviously his leadership is outstanding. Everyone talks about how smart he is in his leadership, but like, if you ever watch Cowboys games, which I have been unfortunately having to do for 36 years of my life, I've lived technically for 3 Super Bowls, but I don't remember a lot of them. But they lead the league in dumb penalties. Like they just make so many dumb penalties, untimely penalties, and so many people are out of position right around the snap of the ball. It is like infuriating to watch. And what Caleb Downs does is infusing him into the team, into the defense like that. You truly do have a quarterback now that can line everything up and could eliminate some of this pre-snap crap that they have going on. So I love that pick. Not just because he's a Buckeye, but also I think he's a perfect fit for what they have. And it really puts a nice dot on the I for their offseason. Now, I think moving to Malachi Lawrence, a lot of people are crushing them for this pick. But 2 weeks prior to the draft, like I started hearing this name a lot come up associated with Dallas. I didn't know who he was, if I'm being honest, prior to this. I didn't watch a lot of UCF night games this year. It just didn't pop up on my, UPN 50 or whatever channel they have. But I think what's great about Lawrence is if you look at the other guys that they draft or could have drafted around him, I think I wrote them down here. Mesidor, Zion Young, and Kendrick Fall. And so I think what he brings that those three didn't was he's truly a pass rusher. And I think what they missed last year was Jadeveon Clowney being their leading sack man. Like you cannot have that on a playoff team. Jadeveon Clowney cannot in the year of 2026 of our Lord cannot be your top pass rusher. Just cannot be. And so what he's going to give is a situational pass rush, which is I think great for a guy that needs to kind of probably have a year or two to assimilate to the league. He's probably going to play early on 15 to 25% of snaps. A lot of them are going to be in that pass obvious situation. So his role is going to be a lot of just get upfield and get the quarterback one-on-one against the tackle. So I think he's actually set up in a good position to succeed early on in his career. If Caleb Downs was not the first pick, my favorite pick, and this is going to be crazy, and if Neil's still listening, he will like fall out of his chair,
He's still listening. He says, Jason, what's this guy Jason smoking?
So that he is still listening, Barham is like, I love that pick.
Really?
I love it. He is like, if you watched Michigan, he was like a demon in the middle of the field. Like he was a hitter. He brought a change of pace to the defense. No one wanted to go over the middle when he was out there because he's a headhunter. Like he is not in fear of his safety whatsoever. Now everyone wants to put this as an edge. He is not going to play edge for Dallas. They're going to put him in the inside linebacker role, which is where if you watched the 3 prior seasons to this season, he was a much better player. I think what happened this year was they needed that outside kind of pass rush to accompany Derek Moore at Michigan, and they moved him. And they had Jimmy Rolder and Ernest Hausman that they could put in the middle so they could spare a middle linebacker. So they moved him. He was the best athlete on that defense. And what I love about him is he played the green dot. I think he played the green dot, the Mike linebacker for Wink Martindale. So Wink Martindale at Michigan, long-time NFL defensive coordinator. So he's going to have NFL terminology. He's going to have NFL checks and reads. So I really like the Jayshon Barham pick. I think he's going to be a really instant starter for Dallas. And then moving on, Drew Shelton. I think he started 36 games at left tackle or 34 games at left tackle for Penn State. Very athletic guy. I think if you're drafting a tackle in the 4th round, you want a swing player. He's not going to start, but you want a guy that can fill in on the left side, fill in the right side. He's athletic enough to play 4 of the 5 spots on the offensive line. And that's really what he's going to be asked to do probably early in his career. And Dallas over the last 3 or 4 years has been decimated by injuries on the offensive line. So having a guy like this with all that starting experience at a major university like Penn State is really important. Moore, good pick, 6'3" corner. You really can't complain about a 6'3" corner. The issue here with Moore is injury concerns. He only played 1 full season at Florida, so that is a huge concern. He had shoulders, I think knees, all types of issues, elbows, whatever. I don't know. It's a bunch of bones.
Head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Yeah, that's the song I was going for, but it's late. Yeah. So they actually think he could have a pretty instant impact. I don't know. Is yet to be seen. And then LT Overton. So LT Overton's interesting. So if anyone follows high school football recruiting, He was a top 10 recruit coming out of, I want to say maybe Georgia or somewhere in the South, I think Georgia possibly. But he reclassified. So he reclassified from a high school senior to a college freshman, or I'm sorry, a high school junior to a high school senior to graduate early, and was still a consensus top 10 recruit. He spent time at, he was part of that very first like NIL class at Texas A&M where they bought a bunch of players that ended up being terrible altogether. And then ended up transferring to Alabama. So interesting kind of path. He's not a very athletic defensive end. He's going to end up playing kind of in closer to the line on the 3-4 defense, classic space eater on a 3-4 defense. Be a rotational guy, maybe 10-15% of the snaps. And then Anthony Smith, I don't really know much about this dude. ECU, they don't really draft a lot of guys out of ECU
Nobody does,
to my knowledge. So we'll see if he makes the team. Camp body.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, in overall, how do you feel about the Cowboys draft?
I honestly, I think their first 3 picks are day one difference makers. So I can't point to many Dallas drafts or many NFL drafts that you can say that the first 3 picks are gonna see the field extensively. And the thing that we're not even talking about is the draft day trade that they made with the Niners to pick up D. Winters, who was their starting middle linebacker because of Fred Warner's injury last year, and who's probably going to step in and be Dallas' starting middle linebacker. And they got him for a 5th round pick. So I think that they won draft day of the 4 teams again for the immediate season of 2026.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, what 5 of the 7 guys they got were defensive players, and they desperately needed defense. And I think
so bad.
Obviously, it's similar to what we talked about with the Browns. Like, if the Dallas defense just gets a little better, like it's not like the offense is just going to fall off a cliff. I mean, unless Dak gets injured again. But like,
don't do that to me.
I mean, aside from that, though, like there's just too many weapons. They just got Pickens. What happened with Pickens? They agreed to the 1 year.
So he agreed to his 1 year tender, but he agreed to it like over the weekend, and he just signed it today. So there was some concern that he wasn't going to sign it. So he signed. Who knows if he shows up? I think he has 0 leverage, so I think he has to show up. So, but that's just my fan saying that. So
you don't have any faith that Anthony Smith, ECU wide receiver, will be better than George Pickens?
I don't. I'm actually I'm gonna make Anthony Smith a LinkedIn page. Get that started for him.
Maybe we can get him on here for an interview.
I didn't think about that
before the season starts. Yeah, not many ECU players that get into the NFL, but I like to play with them on NCAA. Well, 25 is what I still play, so that's a nice team if you're looking to like build a dynasty from like the ground up. That's an awesome team to do it with.
They got cool colors too. I like their uniforms.
Hell yeah. A team that I don't like their uniforms is the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll tell you that as a Browns fan. However, we'll talk a little bit about their draft, and obviously as we've already talked about, right? The big move that they made was like 3 days before the draft. They traded their number 1 overall, or their number 1 pick, which was the 10th overall pick, for Dexter Lawrence, who is a 28-year-old defensive tackle. Has been overweight, has had overweight concerns, hasn't really played to his billing, but they desperately needed some help up the middle there. So they do get better. This guy is obviously a little bit older. I think it was silly for them to do that instead of picking Caleb Downs. But they also did sign Brian something from Kansas City at safety in the offseason. So they filled their hole there that they had. My Bengals co-host from before told me that the biggest thing that he saw out of their war room that he did not like is they didn't address the linebacker position at all. That seems to be still a big problem. I do like the Cassius Howell pick at 41. I mean, obviously you can see there it had an A+ grade from CBS. He was one that, again, people were talking about possibly going in the first round, towards the end of the first round. Now, me personally, I'm a big Zion Young fan. I don't know if it's because I lived in Missouri for a couple of years or because Mel Kiper hyped him up so much. I don't know why. But the intangibles and stuff that he brings, it sounds like I'm like, dude, this is going to be the second best edge rusher in the draft. And for some reason, he didn't go until like mid to late second round. So if he ends up being better than Cassius Howell, I'm going to be laughing all the way to the bank on that, because Cassius Howell is now trying to replace Trey Hendrickson, which, obviously that's a big task, right? As a rookie. And I don't think you're going to see that right away, especially with the other side is not great either. Takario Davis, cornerback out of Washington. Again, I don't know I'm not going to pretend that I know a whole lot about all these players. Feel free to jump in and steal the thunder on any of these. But
So I'll talk about Takario. So Takario was a transfer from, I want to say, Arizona. He had a really good, I want to say, sophomore and junior season at Arizona, and transferred up to Washington. He's a 6'3" corner. I honestly think he's going to start day one up there. I think their first three, if you count Dexter Lawrence as their first round pick, I think their first three picks are going to play significant roles. And if we talk to them in the same vein as we talked about Dallas being like defense needy, because again, that offense just needs a top 17 defense in the league to a top, upper half of the defense
and an offensive line.
That's also a problem. You make a good point there, but I think you got the defense. Dexter Lawrence, what he brings to the defense is he's a human magnet for double teams. So like automatically those linebackers that your former co-host was talking about, they become better because they're going to have more room to roam and play. And they were both, I want to say, rookies last year. So there's only, with more time in the Al Golden system, they're only going to improve. I would imagine they were both Demetrius Knight, and I don't remember the other guy's name, but the fact I know any Bengals player's name outside of Joe Burrow is, impressive in and of itself. But I think Takario Davis is a good pick. I think Connor Lew also. I mean, he comes off a torn ACL last year. I think he only played a couple games. He's an undersized center, but we always talk about the pivot position on the line, and I think he is honestly, if he can come back from an injury, I think he's probably a 10-year starter in the NFL. I think he's a really good pick. I don't know if he does anything for them this year. I don't know if they want him to do anything or if this is a red shirt season for him. But I think long-term, that's a good pick. However, that is where their draft falls off an absolute cliff, I think. So I think Colby Young, I don't know the story there, but isn't there some legal stuff going on there? And then Brian Parker, everyone's saying he's like a much less athletic, worse version of Connor Lew. So it's like, we got two of them now. So nice we did it twice. Jack Endries, I think he's just like an average, everyday tight end who probably is going to play special teams. And then I will say this, Landon Robinson, cool story. He's a really undersized defensive tackle from the Naval Academy. I want to say he's up from your area. He's an Ohio kid. He's like 270 pounds playing defensive tackle. Absolute menace at Navy. Now, will that transfer into the NFL? Probably not. However, thank you for your service, Landon.
Oh, absolutely. So overall, I was honestly like Connor Lew. Even though, like you mentioned, he is undersized, I had him in like Slaughter as like 1A and 1B as far as like centers that I was keeping my eye out on for the Browns. And we ended up with Brailsford, and I'm okay with that. But those were two. So I think they probably got a steal with Lew. I don't think Lawrence is going to make the impact that everybody says he's going to. Again, Cassius Howell, yes, it's nice to get an edge rusher, but I don't think he's enough to do it all on his own. So, yes, I think there are upgrades on the defensive end. But, again, the wide receiver, that's a big question mark for me. And I don't think it's enough for the Bengals to really, like, make a big difference. And a big question that generically gets asked for the Bengals is, like, did they do enough in the trenches? I think we just touched on it, right? Like, they didn't address tackle at all. They got a couple what we think are going to be centers. Obviously, one of them, I'm assuming they're hoping will be a good guard. But, is that enough to protect Joe Burrow and prevent him from at the end of the year being like, I don't know how many years of this I got left? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think so. And again, I don't know that they did enough even on the defensive side of the ball. So I I really, I mean, I hate to say it as a guy who has some close Bengals friends, but like I don't imagine them being better than 6, 7 wins again. And that's if Joe Burrow can stay healthy.
Yeah.
So I don't think they did enough in this draft. And but obviously the big thing that bites them in the ass is that they don't spend any money. So the
Yeah.
few dollars that they spent were on a quarterback and 2 wide receivers who were phenomenal, but like that's all you're going to do. It's not going to be enough, I don't think.
No.
Um,
Especially we have to live in the draft, and then they draft like this.
yeah,
That's
this is like what the Browns used to do. It's like
yeah.
you get like one or two, and you're like, I can see that, and then you're like, ooh, I don't know why do we why
Yeah.
like
Who?
yeah what that was me last year. Like, I was like Carson Schlesinger. I'm like Joe Thomas couldn't even pronounce his name on the stage. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And then like turns out to be the defensive rookie of the year. So don't listen to guys like me all the time, right? Just sometimes, just on this show. I've learned lessons since then. Um, but our final team, the Lions. I'll let you
Yeah.
take the cake on that. I mean, we've got them up there. What did you think about the Lions draft?
So my favorite pick is actually Keith Abney. I think
Okay.
so. We're getting deep into this. So I'll start at the top. So I think Blake Miller.
Wait. Do
Yeah,
you want to go on your Lions rant first before you dive into the draft?
their window's closed. Their window is closed.
Their quarterback is Jared Goff. Of course, their window's
Yes,
closed.
their window is never open. I'm sorry. I think Dan Campbell is going to gamble away any opportunity ever to win a title by the way he calls plays and refuses to kick field goals and take points when they're given to him. I think he's greedy. I just think he's foolish. And so I've had to sit here and watch this, and I think the fans defend it because I think it's cool. And it's like literally, that game up in San Francisco a couple of years ago, the NFC Championship game should have been so much different of outcome. They kicked their butts up and down the field all day, and he let them, kind of give it away. Now, Jared Goff, I think, is a really good quarterback when everything is clean and everything is clean in front of him. So the problem last year is nothing was clean in front of him because they had a ton of injuries in the line. So now they try to draft an offensive lineman. Now, I'm never in favor of moving the number one player at any position from that position to another position. And that's what they're doing with Penei Sewell. They're moving him from right tackle to left tackle. And so
That's for sure.
in
That's for
doing
sure.
so, that opens up a hole to draft a right tackle. So here's the problem I see. So in doing this, that mentally makes them draft Blake Miller because the other three tackles on the board are Hennichor, Freeling, and Lomu, who are left tackles. So if we would have just left him in the position that he has made his own and he's the best at in the NFL that nobody will question, and draft one of the three left tackles who are all three better athletes and better players than Blake Miller, you'd have a better line. Like I don't see the philosophy here. Blake Miller, I had one of the guys I listened to talks about how he doesn't play with power, and he just he progressively got better every year. Well, you should get progressively better every year in a college program. I'm sorry, like that is a lame excuse and a lame answer. And it's like they're defending the pick. I hope he's great. I really do because the Lions are really fun to watch when they're good. And I think that their team is built on strength. It's built on power. It's built on in the trenches. So I think they took the right position. I think they took the wrong player. I think it should have been Lomu at the left tackle, who had all the starting experience at Utah. I think it should have been Freeling or a Hennichor. I think a Hennichor maybe because he has the position flex of right or left. But I think they missed on Blake Miller, and I think that this is going to possibly bite them. I hope it doesn't. And then round 2, Derek Moore. I don't know. I think that the trade up, they traded him from 50 to 44. They gave up 128, which turned into Connor Liu, my boy Connor Liu, future Pro Bowler Connor Liu. I don't know that they had to trade up for Derek Moore, but they did. Decent against the run. He's a good edge against the run. And they needed an edge because Aiden Hutchinson has had nobody really on the other side to help balance this for him. So he's getting a lot of doubles and double teams and a lot of chip blocking. So Derek Moore, right position. Again, on the board possibly is also Zion Young at this spot, who probably a much more natural pass rusher than Derek Moore. And I think also, check my notes here. Who else is on the board? Oh, Gabe Yakis. And I think Gabe Yakis from Illinois is kind of similar to Derek Moore. And again, I don't think you'd had to have traded that pick 128. And also dropping to the third round, if they would have taken, a different player on the defense at 40 or at 50, they could have got Romello Height from Texas Tech, who I think is a really good pass rusher. And he's also, 25 years old. So he's going to come in and give you that immediate spark that Aiden Hutchinson needs. He doesn't have time, Aiden, with all of his injuries and his contract at this point, to have kind of a whiff at this pick. So Derek Moore, we'll see. I don't know. Michigan defensive player. So you know how that happens and what happens there in the NFL. Speaking of Michigan defensive players, let's go to Jimmy Rolder, middle linebacker. Hate this pick. He's got 11 starts in 4 years at Michigan. My memory of Jimmy Rolder is a freshman running back from Ohio State, juking him out of his jock on a 50-yard run down the sideline. So is it going to get easier in the NFL? I don't think so. So we'll see. The jury is out on Jimmy Rolder, but I'm already not starting well for him with me. My question was when they picked him, is this the Alex Anzalone? Is this the guy that's going to fill in for Anzalone? Anzalone was the heart and soul of this defense last year. Mm-hmm. If this is their answer for that, good luck. We'll see. We can all correct me and take notes, everybody. If I'm wrong, please let me know. I'm happy to be wrong. Keith Abney, I said this was my favorite pick. He's a super aggressive corner. He's going to fit in with Detroit and that mentality really well. I think he's going to participate pretty early in a lot of snaps. They have a ton of injuries in that back end. I think that who's the corner they drafted a couple years ago from Alabama? He's got all the off the field issues right now. Someone robbed him and then he robbed them.
The Lions?
Yeah. It's a great story. We'll get into it another time. I'll have my hot takes on that, but he's been average at best. So I think Keith Abney comes in and plays right away. Kendrick Law, special teamer. The other two guys, camp bodies, possibly make the roster. Just some big boys to put in the middle. So I think all in all, I don't know. I don't know. As I said at the top, I think their window's closed or is very close to closing. And I don't think this draft gives me a lot of this doesn't really show me that this is really going to be helpful. I don't think Blake Miller steps in and is the tackle they need. Doesn't keep him clean enough. I don't know if he puts enough pressure on the quarterback to help balance the blocking off Aiden Hutchinson. Rolder, we already know what I think of Rolder. So I don't know. I honestly, I don't think it was a great draft, and it gives me a little hope for the future of the Detroit Lions.
So what you're saying is the Browns will definitely win the next Great Lakes Championship Cup for the preseason matchup of the Browns and the Lions.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Whoa!
I'd put a whole gallon of gas on that.
Was the cornerback you're talking about Terrion Arnold?
Yeah, Terrion Arnold. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm gonna have to read up on that before we talk about it. There's I just typed a Lions cornerback that got robbed, and there was a 16 paragraph thing from ChatGPT.
Yeah, it's a great story.
We'll have to dive into that. We'll do a deep dive on that, maybe preseason or during the season.
We'll get him on the show. I'll send him a message. We'll get him on the show.
Yeah. Be like, dude, I think we found the guy.
Yeah. It'd be awesome. We should interview both him and the guy who robbed him on the show. We should have a side by side.
Yeah, hold on, Terrion. Let him tell his side now. It's his turn. Yeah, order in the court.
You get on that, Brian. You set that up.
I will try my best. All right, so that's a nice little recap. We put a bow on the draft there. But before we do that, I want to know. Give me a hot take. Anything in the draft, I want a hot take. Just one hot take. Doesn't even have to be about our four teams. Any team What? Give me a hot take. What do you got?
Oh, that's a great Dallas NFC Championship game.
Oh, come on. About the draft. Give me a hot take.
Oh shit! I didn't.
I
You
didn't
can't put
prepare
me.
for this.
I didn't prepare. I didn't prepare.
You want me to? I got two. I threw out two.
You give me yours, and then I'll.
Mendoza is not going to be anywhere near as good as Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
That might not be a hot take, but I also think that again, I already mentioned this. I spoiled it for myself. David Bailey will be the best edge rusher out of this draft, even though people think he's going to be a bust. And Zion Young is going to be the second best edge rusher out of this draft.
Okay. I'll give you one because I agree on this. Mendoza. I think the Raiders are drafting a quarterback in 3 years.
Yeah, 100%. They might be drafting a quarterback next year.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's very true. Very possible.
I would love to have seen where he would have got drafted last year.
Who are the quarterbacks last year?
So it's Cam Ward. The big talk was Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders.
That's right.
Obviously, Jackson Dart ended up getting drafted in the first round. There were a couple other, obviously, Dylan Gabriel at number 98 or whatever it was, 92. And then I think the other big one was Jalen Milroe.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I see him QB3 in that draft.
Yeah. If that, right? Like, yeah. So I don't know. I just think it's funny. I think Shedeur is going to, well, I can't say that with certainty, but I think Shedeur might have a better career than Mendoza. Like if you put Shedeur on that Indiana team last year, he looks way better doing it than Mendoza did.
I would agree.
Any guesses as to who would be the offensive or defensive rookie of the year based on this draft?
Defensive rookie of the year, I'll go with Bailey.
Okay.
Offensive rookie of the year, Jeremiah Love. I think he'll have the most touches.
Okay. I think it might be Tyson. If he can stay healthy, which is a big if, right? But yeah. I love me some Tyson, some Jordan Tyson. I was really hoping that he'd end up a Brown, but here we are.
So back to Keith Abney. My boy Keith Abney for the Lions. I'm a Keith Abney stan. He one-on-one every day with Jordan Tyson at practice. So iron sharpens iron. Book it.
Yeah, well, they say that at Ohio State every year, and when we just got blown out by, well, not blown out, but we got beat by Indiana and Miami, so I don't know about that.
Debbie Downer, jeez.
All right, give me for the four teams that we cover, give me grade each team with one word. Can you do that?
So superlative? Are we doing like superlatives here?
One word, whatever. One word. You can poo. I don't care. Buns, whatever. Whatever you want.
All right. So Lions.
Okay.
Yeah. Bengals, I would go interesting. Like I think if you had the Dexter Lawrence, like it's interesting. Like, I don't know. It's like they're trying something and like, will it? I don't know. Like I'm interested to see how this works.
Okay.
And Dallas, I'm excited. I'm just very excited because they got a defense. I think they got the pieces. Sure. Browns future. I think the future is bright. And I think if I were to do it, because everyone always wants to do draft grades, like draft grades A, B, C. I don't do that. Let's do buckets of popcorn. All right, Brian. So like buckets of popcorn based off of like their watchability, like how interested you are to watch this. So like on a scale of 1 to 5 buckets of popcorn, like Dallas, I'm at a 4.5. Browns, I'm at a 4.5. Okay. Bengals, I'm at a 2. Okay. Lions, maybe a bucket. Like I have to watch it. So like
dude, yeah, I don't know, man. I think the Bengals are still high up there because of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Like it's all about the fantasy football world these days.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like it's not about is this a good team or not? It's about who's going to put up all these points. And I bet you, like if you look back at the Dallas ratings and the Bengals ratings last year, even though the defenses were absolute poo, and it was just a score like who could score 50 the fastest every week. I bet you they had some of the highest ratings. Like so, if we're talking about popcorn, I mean, unfortunately, I don't think that's a good judge, but I think the Bengals would still be high up there and the Browns would not, because it's just like, unless you're looking at like, is Shador the future or not, right?
Yeah.
But for me, so my one word for each of these is Lions is just like trenches? Question mark.
It's a good one. It's a really good one.
Bengals is just like maintenance, right? It's like they try to plug some holes, like duct tape and bubble gum kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cowboys, I said safe, like
Yeah.
very, very high floor, right, for all of these picks. And then Browns, I said detrimental. Like it's either gonna this is either gonna make or break. These four high picks that they had. If two of them turn out to be great, like all pros year after year, then
That's
this
great.
is going to be a detrimental draft.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other big shout outs? Any other let's see here. Do you think this is what I wanted to ask you about the Lions. They went 9-8 last year.
Yep.
Do you think that they will be better than that this year or worse?
Same record. I think I don't think they improved. I think they got worse with getting rid of Montgomery. I don't think Pacheco gives them much more than Montgomery, if any. I honestly think they're status quo. I think they just shovel in sand. I don't think it's any better.
Unfortunate. Also, if anybody from our fantasy football group is listening, Pacheco is on the trade block if you would like him.
I tried to trade you for him like years ago. So like,
I gotta hold
follow the money.
I gotta hold my trades with you. They got to go through a very deep analytical process to make sure they follow the sniff test. I don't, dude. I'd be surprised. I'm actually. I think they go down. I think they win like 7 or 8 games. Like, dude, they messed up big time by not keeping Ben Johnson around, and I don't think they make like, aside from like the Vikings just being absolutely brain dead at GM, or not even GM, whoever's making the decisions there. Like, obviously wasn't Quasey. Like, whatever's going on there, whoever's making the decisions, aside from them, they were a damn good team. And Kevin O'Connell, I think, is a really good coach.
Yeah.
But it's like the opposite of what was going on with the Browns. It's like, but anyway, aside from that, I think the Packers and the Bears are going to be just slobber knockers for the next 5 years at least. And like, I just don't see the Lions keeping up, unfortunately.
No, you had to hold serve, and they just didn't. They did not hold serve with their picks or free agency. And so let me ask you this, Brian. So of the 4 teams that we're covering here, who do you think is going to have the best record of the 4? And do you think any of them make the playoffs?
Dallas has the best record. They make a deep playoff run. I know you're excited about that. After that, it would be like the Browns, honestly, and as weird as this is to say, I think it would be like the Browns and the Lions, like 2B and 2C, whatever you want to call it. I would go Dallas. I'll be a homer. Dallas, Cleveland, Lions, and then Bengals. And again, I know that sounds crazy, but like the Bengals I don't think their defense is going to be much better. So, I don't see it, man. I don't see it. So I think the Bengals like win like 7 games. So
I think they're your most bipolar team, because I could see them on both sides of that. I could see them winning 14. I could see them winning 4.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And then like if they do win 4, or if they do win 4, like what the hell do they do? They're certainly not drafting Jeremiah Smith. They're certainly not taking a quarterback, right? Like,
well, hot take, Burrow. If they win 4 games, Burrow will not be in Cincinnati next year. Hot take.
Whoa. So do you think he gets traded, or do you think that he quits? Andrew Luck 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
That is a hot take. All right. One more thing we wanted to do before we get out of here. You threw out this idea. Yep. Pretty cool idea. We're going to do a mock draft. Unfortunately, I don't have a graphic with all of the teams, but I have intimate knowledge of the Browns draft. So I can help you out there as we
Okay.
go through this. Let me do this on my phone, and let's put us back on the side, and we'll pull up the other 3 teams so we have that to review. So, what we're gonna do here for you all, we're gonna do a mock draft, and we're gonna pick for each round. We're gonna pick the best player that we thought was the best player for that round, regardless of where they got drafted. Right. So, um, I mean, there's only 2 of us, so really this would be better to do with 3 people to have a tiebreaker.
Yeah, I would
But
agree.
I don't know. We'll just see. We'll just roll the dice. We'll see how it goes. So,
Add
uh,
your in the comments, people. Go ahead and add yours, and we'll
yeah, yeah,
include
yeah.
tiebreakers.
Please feel free to tell us who you think out of these 4 teams: Browns, Bengals, Detroit, and Dallas, who the best pick was at each round. We'll start with round 1. You want to start with round 1 since this was your idea? You want to start with round 1 or round 7 and save the good stuff for last?
Let's do round 7. Yeah, start bottom up. Yeah.
Okay, bottom up. All right. So for round 7, you've got from the Browns, you've got tight end out of BYU, Carson Ryan. So he's great because he's playing for BYU.
Yep.
Then obviously, as we can see here from Cincinnati, you've got Landon Robinson, who you already mentioned. Uh, Tyree West is who Detroit picked in the 7th round, and then your boy, ECU alum Anthony Smith for the Cowboys. Who would you pick out of those 4
Landon
players?
Robinson. I'm going Landon Robinson, the Navy boy.
Dang, dude. You know what I wrote?
What?
I have no idea about any of these 4 players, so I'm going with Anthony Smith because I love ECU Pirates.
All right. That's a good reason. That is a good reason.
It's kind of like when the girls do like the March Madness and they're
Yeah,
like, "Oh, I like the mascot."
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So between Landon Robinson and Anthony Smith, if anybody has any tiebreakers there in the chat, please let us know. HGF 0001 says Caleb Downs is overrated.
That sounds like a made up name. It's like a bot name, HGF 0001.
Huggeth? I mean, are we gonna know that? We're gonna already know that by the end of this year, aren't we?
Who's rating him? Like overrated in what sense? Like, I mean, okay.
Is he going to be better or worse than Kyle Hamilton? Let's start there.
They're not going to play the same position.
He's not. He says he's not a bot. I'm not a bot.
You know
Can
who
you
is
pass?
that?
Can you pass the crosswalk picture test? No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, yeah. How are we going to know? I mean, but we should be able to know. No. You can explain if you want. No, please feel free to jump in. We appreciate all the love, all the comments, anything you've got. So tell us why you think Caleb Downs is going to be overrated. We'll jump into round 6 while you type that up for us, and then you and Jason can have a debate on that. So round 6 for the Browns. We already mentioned it. First pick in the 6th round was Talon Green, quarterback out of Arkansas. Now for the Bengals, they had Brian Parker. The Detroit Lions had Skylar Gill Howard, and then the Cowboys had nobody. So who did you pick out of those 3?
I like Skylar Green. I think that I don't know if he'll ever play.
Okay.
But I just think he has a lot of upside, talented dude. So I picked him.
Me too. I got Talon Green as well. So we actually we agree on one. So that's good. Maybe we don't need a tiebreaker for every round here. All right, moving into round 5, we have got nobody for the Cincinnati Bengals. Kendrick Law for the actually your boy Keith Abney and Kendrick Law for the Detroit Lions. Doesn't look like the Cowboys had any 5th round picks, and I know the Browns had multiple. So we had for the Browns Parker Brailsford, center for Alabama, formerly Washington. We had Justin Jefferson, not Justin Jefferson that we all know, but the linebacker out of Alabama, and then Joe Royer, tight end out of Cincinnati. So a lot to pick from there. What do you say for the round 5?
Keith Abney. I just think there's too much upside there. Aggressive corner. I would go Keith Abney there.
Okay. And again, I'm not super extreme knowledge here, but Parker Brailsford is who I go with. I just have heard just a ton of great things, and some people that said that if he was a little bit bigger, ifs and buts, but if he was a little bit bigger, he would be the number one center on in this draft, and he's able to make up for it. So HGF jumps in and says at the University of Alabama, he played in a system that keeps safeties clean, but he wasn't always asked to take the hardest assignments every snap. So we're talking about Caleb Downs being overrated. I mean, I didn't watch him a whole lot at Alabama. I was super excited when he came to Ohio State, and I mean, I just loved what he did at Ohio State. I don't know that he was like taking the hardest assignments, but he's also not a cornerback, right? Like, is that expected of most safeties in the NFL or in NCAA?
So personally, I don't think that's the position that what he's being asked to do. Now, I understand where you're coming from. Possibly is like the best player on the defense should have the hardest assignment or should cover the best player on the offense. Totally understand that, but I just don't think that was his role. And I don't think that's possibly going to be his role at the next level either. I think his role is going to be kind of locking down that short intermediate portion of the field where you see a lot of yardage gained. I get what you're saying, and I also we have to put Alabama in a little bit of a box because he was an 18-year-old freshman on an Alabama defense. So no 18-year-old freshman in Nick Saban's history of coaching has ever been asked to be that guy. So yeah, so his first year, his freshman year, I totally understand. Yeah, he's probably given a little bit of easier assignments. He's probably not getting. He's probably getting a little bit more handed to him as far as the easier stuff. But at Ohio State under Matt Patricia and under Jim Knowles, he had, he played multiple positions. It wasn't just the deep safety that everyone wants to think of as the safety position. So I get where you're coming from. I don't think that's what he's gonna be asked to do in Dallas either. But it'll be interesting to see. It's interesting to see if he lives up to the hype because there's a lot of hype.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and he also says he's very good athletically, but not a rare generational freak in size, speed compared to elite NFL safeties. So, I mean, like you said, I mean, I guess we will probably. I mean, we won't probably. We'll probably. I mean, halfway through the season, we should know a lot more, right? I mean, we'll have 8 games.
From a size comparison, though, I'd love to do this. Like Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu are not much bigger than Caleb Downs on paper. Now, I'm not saying he is them by any means because those are probably the two of the best defensive players I have ever seen. But I think in the athletic side of it, I mean, again, I just don't think he was asked to do a ton of stuff at Ohio State. I mean, he even came out this week and said he was bored at Ohio State a lot of times because there wasn't a lot to do. The ball didn't get back to him. So we'll see. But I agree. There's to be determined.
Okay. He also says he over pursued a lot of tackles and missed them. I like him, but I'm tired of the Ed Reed comparisons. So, HGF, if you want, you can follow us on the socials, and we would be love to have more of this conversation, and maybe at some point bring you in as a guest and let you tell Jason why he's wrong all day every day, and I can just sit here and be the referee, and I would love that. But I really, seriously, thank you for jumping in. I appreciate your input, and we would love to have you talk more. We'll have this show going every Wednesday night. During the football season, I don't know how early on, like, preseason and stuff like that. We've still got some things to hash out on that. But if you want to follow us on at Twitter, it's at Rust Belt Rivalry, just like the show says, and we'll be happy to have you guys go back and forth. So we'll dive in then to the 4th round. So we've got, let me switch back here to the Browns here. So we've got 2 picks from Dallas. We had Drew Shelton and Devin Moore. We had Jimmy Rolder, who you already said how much you love him. And then now we had Connor Lew, Colby Young, Cincinnati, and then the Browns actually didn't have a 4th round pick. So of those 1, 2, 3, 4 picks, 5 picks, who are you looking at?
I don't love really any of them. I think there's two players with upside. I think it's Devin Moore and Connor Liu. I think those are the two guys that could make long-term impacts. So we'll just go with Dallas for me. I'll go with Devin Moore.
Damn, I went with Connor Liu.
Perfect.
I loved him for his center. I was like wanting the Browns to get him. That didn't happen, but here we are. All right, round 3. We had for the Browns Austin Barber. We had Sicario Davis for the Cincinnati Bengals. Nobody for Detroit, and your boy Jay-Sean Barham, which I'm guessing you're going Jay-Sean.
Yeah, I'm going with Barham for sure.
Okay. And again, just because of the limited amount that I know, I've heard a lot about how, again, and maybe this is just because I listen to too much Cleveland sports, and maybe this is an eye-opening experience for me that if I'm going to be doing this podcast about 4 different teams, that I need to step up my game and start spreading out the love on the podcast. But I have just heard how Austin Barber could be one of the best tackles in this, and one of the most position changeable tackle or offensive lineman in the draft. So, but that's a lesson for me to learn here. Moving on to round 2, we had Browns, Denzel Boston, and Emmanuel and McNeil Warren. We had Cassius Howell, Derek Moore, and Malachi Lawrence.
I really want it to be Emmanuel McNeil Warren, so I'm just going to go with the Browns.
I love it. I would love to go Emmanuel and McNeil Warren too, but I think I went Denzel Boston. Again, out of all the players that are round two or later, I had a highest grade on him. I was praying that he ended up at 24, so we'll go with him. And then round 1, I don't think we need to tell anybody, but Spencer Fano, Blake Miller, Caleb Downs. If you want to throw Dexter Lawrence in there, you can. What do you think?
So I would go with Caleb Downs, but I'm going with Caleb Downs because of the fit immediate, like in Dallas. Like I think that's, to me, the upside is too great there. So I'm going to go with Downs.
I also go Downs. I think long term, again, you kind of touched on it several times, but long term, I hope that Spencer Fano ends up in the Pro Bowl every year for being one of the greatest left tackles to ever play in Cleveland. But I just watching Caleb Downs the last 2 years, I'm just super excited about him. And if it was a position that the Browns actually needed, I would have been jazzed to see them take him at 10 or 9. Sorry.
So I did a tally, and shouldn't shock anyone. So if we were to put the 2 drafts, like the 2 fantasy drafts that we just did side by side, I would have the Cowboys winning the draft, and you would have the Browns winning the draft.
Wow. Well, that's a shock.
Homers.
That's true. But like I said, with us now having 4 teams that we're covering, I really need to expand my knowledge on the Lions and the Cowboys. But we're changing things up, but hopefully this will be a long-term thing. So,
yep.
Anything else you want to touch on before I close us out here?
All right, one quick thing. So we're going to start this when we start up back in the fall. No Way or Jose, and I have my first No Way and Jose for you.
Yeah. Well, explain what that means. What that means.
So everyone knows the saying "No Way Jose." So since this is a Cleveland-centric podcast, Jose Ramirez is like one of the best Indians or Guardians, if not the best of all time. So this segment is going to be where Brian or I give a stat of the day, and it's either going to be true or false, and the other person has to say "No way" as it's not true, or Jose as yeah, it's true. So no way or Jose, Brian, that Mel Kiper, since you brought him up earlier, eats pumpkin pie for breakfast every day.
Jose,
every day.
That's too wild to not be true.
Yep, it's insane. It's psycho.
He does it every day.
Every day. He was talking that he has like 12 like cans of whipped cream every week at the grocery store. Like the guy like puts them aside for him. He eats like the whipped cream, everything. Like Thanksgiving breakfast every day. Imagine that. It's 95 degrees outside and you're just like, you know what? Pumpkin pie.
Is pumpkin pie, maybe sans the whipped cream. Is pumpkin pie like somewhat healthy for you?
Oh, dude, there's so much sugar in there. I would imagine. I
Oh,
mean, it's like straight pumpkin. Like if you take a bite of a pumpkin, I'm sure that's fine. Like that's probably great, but I don't think the pumpkin pie. I think the pie part of that is puts it over the edge.
dude, I don't know about every day, man. He must love him some pumpkin pie. I wonder if he's the first one in line at Starbucks when the pumpkin spice latte comes out.
Sure, I'm sure. With that
Dude,
hair, coif hair, just
dude, I
like
love the hair. I love the hair.
I
By the
wish
way,
I had that hair.
You wish I had it?
No, I wish I did. I wish I had any
Oh, well, yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. Yeah. So moving forward, do you want me to have one of those for you as well?
No, we can just whoever has one, we can spread it out. It's so crazy sports stats. Just beware. I'm coming with some baseball stats because um, there's some good ones out there.
Okay. And for those that are Cavs fans out there, I'm sure you already know this, but the Cavs won game 5, 125 to 120 over the Raptors, so they take the 3-2 series lead. It's a victory for the Cavaliers. Hopefully they win the series in game 6 in Toronto when they go down there. I would assume that's in a couple days, and then yeah, Hall. But lot to look forward to as far as the NFL. Obviously, right? This is just the tip of the iceberg for preseason. The draft just finished. We've got a long way to go. What's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers, right? We've got training camp, rookie camps, all the things that happen in the offseason still left. And then, yeah, Jason and I will figure out what the heck we're going to do as far as the schedule goes, and we'll let you guys know. Please feel free to like, follow, subscribe, click all the buttons, both on the Network 216, the Rust Belt Rivalry, see there in the top right corner. We appreciate all the love and support and spreading everything to everybody else that you can. So hope you all have a great night. Thanks for following.